My beloved sisters, there are moments in life when a woman looks around and finds no one beside her, no friends to confide in, no circle to belong to, and no companion to share her quiet tears with. And she wonders, why me? Let me remind you of something powerful. Sometimes the emptiness you feel is not a punishment. It is a preparation. There are times when the Almighty distances you from people, not because you are unworthy, but because He wants you to discover the sweetness of relying on Him first. When you lift your hands and say, "Oh Allah, I have no one but you," that moment is more valuable than 1,000 friendships. That moment shapes your heart, purifies your intentions, and strengthens your soul. My sister, do not measure your worth by the number of people who call you, text you, or sit beside you. Your value was written by the Almighty long before anyone entered your life. You are honored by your faith, by your patience, by your resilience. People may overlook you, but Allah never does. Understand something important. Loneliness can be a gift. It pushes you to reflect, to grow, to heal. Sometimes the Almighty removes certain friendships because they would have distracted you, hurt you, or taken you away from becoming the woman you were meant to be. So instead of asking, "Why am I alone?" ask, "What is Allah preparing me for?" And remember, friendships are not about numbers. Even if Allah grants you one sincere friend, one loyal, righteous companion, that person is more valuable than a crowd that would pull you into negativity or sin. Good company is a blessing, but bad company is a burden. So be grateful for protection, even when it comes in the form of solitude. At the same time, my sister, continue to polish your character. A gentle smile, a kind word, a pure heart. These are magnets for sincere companionship. When your heart is clean, Allah surrounds you with people who reflect that purity. And never underestimate the power of dua. Raise your hands and say, "Oh Allah, grant me righteous companions who bring me closer to you." The Almighty hears every whisper, even the ones wrapped in tears. So to every woman who feels she has no friends, know that you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are simply being held in a phase that will make you stronger, wiser, and closer to your Lord. Trust His timing. He will send the right people at the right moment, just as He has written for you. True companionship begins with Allah. And when we truly internalize this, it completely transforms how we understand loneliness, friendship, and human connection. Many people assume companionship starts with another person, someone who listens, understands, or stands by us. But in Islam, the deepest companionship is not with a human being, it is with the one who created companionship itself. When a heart connects to Allah, even the heaviest form of loneliness feels lighter, and even in moments of silence, the soul feels attended to and understood. There are times in life when a person might look around and see no one who truly understands what they are going through. A woman may find herself surrounded by people yet still feel alone because emotional companionship is not the same as social presence. Friends may come and go, people may disappoint, and even loved ones might not always be available. It is in these moments that the heart begins to recognize a deeper truth. Human companionship is a blessing, but it is not the foundation. The foundation is the bond a person builds with Allah through remembrance, through worship, through sincere conversation in the quiet hours of the night, and through a trust that never wavers. When a woman feels she has no friends, she may feel empty, unwanted, or forgotten. But connecting with Allah fills that emptiness with purpose. Allah knows the secrets of every heart, the fears that keep one awake, the sadness that hides behind a smile, and the silent battles no one else sees. When you turn to Him in those moments, acknowledging your vulnerability, you build a companionship that is purer and stronger than anything this world can offer. The one who relies on Allah never feels abandoned, because the Almighty is closer than any friend, any companion, any human being who could stand beside you. He is with you in your joy, your fear, your tears, and your triumphs. True companionship with Allah begins with remembering Him often. When you wake up with gratitude, when you whisper a quiet prayer for strength, when you hold back from something wrong, simply because you know He is watching, your bond with Him grows. There is a special peace that enters the heart of a person who knows they are never truly alone. This peace is not superficial. It is not dependent on who calls or who does not call, who includes you or excludes you. It is a peace rooted in knowing that the Lord of the worlds has already written your path, has already chosen what is best for you, and will never burden you with something beyond your capability. When the companionship with Allah becomes strong, your need for human companionship does not disappear, but it becomes healthier. You no longer seek friends out of desperation or fear of being alone. Instead, you seek them out of love, sincerity and wisdom. You begin to appreciate people without relying on them in a way that damages your emotional stability. You can enjoy friendships knowing that your heart is anchored somewhere far safer than human hands. And when people inevitably make mistakes, as all humans do, you are not shattered because your emotional foundation is built on something divine and unshakable. A woman with strong companionship with Allah can walk through seasons of loneliness without falling apart. She can face betrayal, distance, disappointment or neglect and still find strength within her heart. She speaks to her Lord in sujood, pours her heart out in dua and feels lighter even without a single person replying to her messages. This companionship teaches her that even silence can be comforting. When she knows Allah hears every word she never says aloud. Many people misunderstand loneliness as something negative. But loneliness becomes a different experience when the heart is connected to Allah. Instead of emptiness, it becomes reflection. Instead of sadness, it becomes discovery. Instead of weakness, it becomes strength. The quiet moments become opportunities to reconnect with who you really are, what you really want, and who you are meant to become. True companionship with Allah also helps a woman break destructive patterns. Sometimes a person clings to friendships that harm them simply because they fear being alone. But when a woman knows Allah is with her, she finds the courage to let go of toxic people, to walk away from those who pull her away from her morals or drain her emotionally. She begins to understand that losing people is not the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of finding herself and finding Allah more deeply. This companionship also shapes one's character. A woman who relies on Allah becomes more patient, more gentle, more hopeful. She begins to see hardships as lessons, not punishments. She learns to trust the process, even when she does not understand the wisdom behind her situation. When no friend is there to comfort her, she finds comfort in prayer. When no one stands up for her, she knows Allah is the best protector. And when she feels unseen, she knows Allah sees her intention, her effort, and her sincerity. The beauty of companionship with Allah is that it is constant. Friends may move away, get busy, forget, or change. But Allah does not change. His mercy, His love, His support, they remain steady. And the more a woman strengthens this bond, the more she begins to attract people who reflect that light. When Allah becomes enough, everything else becomes a bonus, not a necessity. A woman who begins her companionship with Allah first will always find that her heart remains full, even when her circle is empty. And eventually, Allah sends the right people. People who uplift, not drain. Who remind, not distract. Who love sincerely, not conditionally. But until they arrive, Allah alone is enough. Self-worth is not defined by the number of friends you have. It is defined by the purity of your heart, the strength of your character, and the sincerity of your relationship with Allah. In a world where people often measure their value through popularity, social circles, or how many people applaud them, many forget that true honor comes from within. There are countless individuals who seem surrounded by people, yet feel empty, insecure, and unnoticed. And there are others who walk alone yet carry dignity, confidence, and serenity because they understand that their worth was never meant to be handed to them by people. It was given to them by their Creator. When a woman experiences a season in which she feels she has no friends, she may begin to question herself. She may wonder if something is wrong with her or if she is lacking in some way. But it is important to step back and recognize that loneliness is not evidence of inferiority. People drift apart for different reasons and circumstances change. What matters is not how many people surround you, but who you are when no one is watching. This is the moment you realize that your value is not tied to how many names appear on your contact list or how many people respond to your messages. It is tied to your faith, your intentions, your kindness, your resilience, and your connection with Allah. Society often sends the message that being alone means being unwanted or unsuccessful. Social media amplifies this illusion by highlighting groups, parties, outings, and friendships that seem perfect. But behind the scenes, many of those friendships are shallow, temporary, or built on convenience rather than sincerity. A woman may have dozens of people around her but still feel invisible because those people do not know her heart. True companionship is a blessing, but it is not something you force. And your worth does not rise or fall depending on whether people choose to stay in your life. A woman who understands her true worth does not collapse when others walk away. She does not beg for attention, nor does she alter her values to fit into circles where she does not belong. She stands firm because she knows that her value is anchored in the one who created her. Allah honors sincerity, humility, and righteousness, not popularity. If people do not appreciate you, it has no impact on how Allah sees you. And if He values you, then what loss is it if His creation fails to recognize your worth? When a woman determines her value through people, her heart becomes fragile. She may feel broken by rejection, shaken by criticism, or overwhelmed by loneliness. But when she determines her worth through Allah, she becomes unshakable. She understands that people's opinions change like the weather, but Allah's love and knowledge of her never change. She begins to see herself through the lens of mercy rather than self-doubt. Her self-esteem grows not from external validation, but from internal peace. A woman may have no friends for a period of time, but this can be a powerful stage of self-discovery. It is often in solitude that she learns who she truly is, what she truly values, and what direction she wants to move toward. Sometimes Allah removes people not because she is unworthy, but because He wants her to reflect, to grow, and to rise above the distractions around her. In times of loneliness, character is built, patience is learned, strength is developed, and through this process, she becomes someone more connected to her purpose and to her Creator. Self-worth also influences the type of friendships a woman accepts. A person with a weak sense of worth may tolerate mistreatment, disrespect, or unhealthy relationships, simply because she fears being alone. But a woman who knows her value will not settle for friendships that harm her soul or drain her energy. She understands that it is better to walk alone than to walk with people who pull her away from goodness. She begins to protect her peace and chooses connections that reflect sincerity, support, and righteousness. When your self-worth is strong, your standards become clearer and your heart becomes more selective. Not out of arrogance, but out of wisdom. Recognizing your worth also helps you approach friendships with balance. You no longer cling to people or depend on them in a way that damages your emotional stability. You appreciate them, but you do not worship their presence. You enjoy them, but you do not collapse when they leave. You value relationships, but you know that Allah is the one who ultimately fills your heart. This balance allows you to love people sincerely without losing yourself in the process. A woman who understands her worth also becomes a source of strength for others. Her confidence is gentle, not loud. Her humility is sincere, not forced. She walks with a quiet dignity that inspires those around her. People begin to respect her, not because she demands attention, but because her presence carries calmness and self-respect. She does not compete with others, gossip to feel included, or behave differently just to fit in. She remains authentic, and authenticity is more powerful than popularity. When a woman realizes that her worth comes from Allah, she stops comparing herself to others. She stops wishing for someone else's life, friends, or personality. She accepts that Allah created her with unique qualities, strengths, and experiences that no one else has. She knows that being overlooked by people does not mean being overlooked by Allah. She trusts that whatever is written for her, whether friendships, companionship, or future blessings, will arrive at the perfect time. In truth, self-worth grounded in faith liberates the heart. It frees a woman from the need for approval and protects her from emotional dependence. It allows her to walk through life with confidence, even in solitude. And it reminds her that she is valued, honored, and cherished, not by the number of people around her, but by the one who created her with purpose and wisdom. A woman with this understanding will never feel like a woman with no friends. She will feel like a woman who walks with dignity, guided by Allah, waiting for the right people to enter her life when the time is right. Isolation can be a phase of growth, and when you truly understand this, you begin to see loneliness in a different light. Many people fear being alone because they associate it with rejection, weakness, or failure. But in reality, some of the most profound transformations in life happen when you are placed in situations where no one else is around. Isolation is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is a divine pause, a moment where the world becomes quiet so your soul can speak and your heart can listen. There are times when Allah removes people from your life, not because you are unworthy, but because you are being prepared for something greater. When life becomes noisy with opinions, distractions, and constant interactions, it becomes difficult to hear your own thoughts, let alone reflect deeply. But when you are alone, you begin to see things more clearly. You start to recognize patterns you missed, lessons you avoided, and truths you were too busy to acknowledge. Solitude exposes you to yourself, and though this can be uncomfortable, it is often necessary. A woman who goes through a period of isolation may feel confused or even abandoned. She may wonder why people drift away, why friendships fade, or why she suddenly feels disconnected from the world around her. But isolation can be the very tool Allah uses to elevate her. It is within the silence that she learns what reliance truly means. It is within the emptiness that she learns what fulfillment actually looks like. And it is within the solitude that she discovers how to stand on her own feet, with faith anchoring her heart. Growth requires space. You cannot learn resilience when someone else is always holding you up. You cannot learn patience when everything comes easily. You cannot learn self-worth when you constantly depend on people to make you feel valued. Sometimes Allah isolates you, so you stop looking outward for comfort and start looking inward for strength. This is not a deprivation, it is a redirection. When a woman is alone, she begins to confront parts of herself that remain hidden in busy seasons. Her fears, her insecurities, her habits, her wounds. These truths can be painful, but they are necessary for healing. You cannot grow without facing what hurts. You cannot become stronger without acknowledging what weakens you. And you cannot find clarity without stepping away from the things that cloud your vision. Isolation becomes the environment where inner work takes place. And inner work is the foundation of true transformation. It is also during these quiet moments that a woman builds her relationship with Allah more deeply. When people are around, she may turn to them first. But when they are gone, the heart turns naturally to the one who never leaves. She begins to speak to Allah more honestly, to pour her emotions out in dua, to reflect during prayers, and to find comfort in remembrance. She discovers a companionship that no human being could ever provide, and this companionship becomes the strength she carries back into the world when the season of isolation ends. Isolation teaches discipline. It teaches you to depend on yourself in healthy ways. It teaches you to organize your thoughts, control your emotions, and manage your time. With fewer distractions, you have the opportunity to build habits that nourish your soul and sharpen your mind. You begin to prioritize what matters instead of being swept away by what is urgent. You find purpose in your days instead of chasing after people's approval. You learn that solitude does not have to be lonely. It can be meaningful, peaceful, and empowering. Many people misunderstand isolation as a sign that they are unwanted. But sometimes Allah removes the wrong people so He can prepare you for the right ones. Isolation can be a refining process, where your heart is clean from unhealthy attachments, your mind is cleared of noise, and your soul is realigned with its purpose. When you emerge from this phase, you are not the same person you were before. You become clearer, stronger, wiser, and more selective. You no longer settle for friendships that drain you. You no longer chase people who don't value you. You no longer depend on external validation. You enter the next chapter of your life with a deeper sense of who you are and what you deserve. Isolation also helps you understand the beauty of being alone without feeling lonely. It teaches you that your company is enough, your thoughts are meaningful, and your existence has value regardless of who stands beside you. A woman who has grown through isolation becomes emotionally independent. She finds contentment in her connection with Allah and within her own heart. And from that place of stability, she forms healthier relationships when the time is right. Even nature teaches us this lesson. A seed grows beneath the soil alone before it rises into the light. A pearl forms inside a closed shell, hidden and unseen. A butterfly transforms within a cocoon, away from the world. Growth often requires a period of stillness, darkness, and solitude. It is not the end of something, it is the beginning of something extraordinary. So if a woman finds herself alone, she should not despair. She should recognize that she may be in the middle of a transformation. She is being shaped, strengthened, and prepared for what is coming. Isolation may feel uncomfortable, but it is filled with purpose. And when the season ends, she will step out with a heart purified, a mind sharpened, and a soul that knows its worth. In the end, isolation is not a sign of abandonment. It is a sign that you are being nurtured for growth that cannot happen in the presence of everyone. It is a phase that molds you into a version of yourself that you never imagined you could become. Quality over quantity in friendships is a principle that becomes clearer as a person matures, but it is especially important for a woman who finds herself feeling alone. Many people mistakenly believe that having many friends means they are loved, valued, or socially successful. Yet in reality, not all friendships are beneficial, and not every person who stands beside you is truly with you. A large crowd can make a person feel even more lonely if those friendships lack sincerity, honesty, or spiritual value. One sincere, righteous, and loyal friend is more valuable than a multitude of companions who weaken your faith, drain your energy, or distract you from your purpose. A woman may see others surrounded by groups and feel something is missing from her own life. She may wonder why her circle is small or why she struggles to find people who truly understand her. But what she may not realize is that her solitude might be a protection. Not every smile is sincere, not every hug is honest, and not every friendship is healthy. Sometimes people appear close, but in truth, they bring negativity, jealousy, or harmful influence into one's life. The absence of such people is not a loss, but a blessing in disguise. When you understand that quality is far more important than quantity, you stop chasing after relationships that were never meant to benefit your soul. A single sincere friend, one who reminds you of Allah, who supports you in times of hardship, and who encourages you to become a better version of yourself, is a priceless gift. Such a friend does not need to be present every day or communicate constantly. Their presence in your life brings peace rather than pressure, comfort rather than competition, and sincerity rather than superficiality. With one genuine friend, you can share your hardships without fear of your secrets being exposed. You can seek advice knowing it comes from a place of love and wisdom. You can walk through challenges with someone who strengthens your faith instead of weakening it. Contrast this with many friendships a person may gather without discernment. A large social circle may impress others, but that does not guarantee happiness. There are friendships built on convenience, people who only appear when they need something and disappear when you need them. There are friendships built on entertainment, people who stay connected only when things are fun or easy, but vanish in moments of difficulty. And there are friendships built on habit, people who have been around for years but bring no growth, no support, and no goodness into your life. Such relationships take space but bring no nourishment. Much like eating food that looks appealing but leaves you hungry. A woman who prioritizes quality over quantity becomes selective, not out of arrogance but out of self-respect. She understands that her heart is not something to be placed in the hands of just anyone. She values her spiritual and emotional well-being too much to allow negative influences to surround her. She does not fear having only a few friends because she knows that meaningful companionship does not happen with everyone. She realizes that the right people come at the right time, and she trusts Allah to send those whose presence will be a source of mercy, not a test. Choosing quality friendships also means recognizing your own role. A woman who seeks sincere friends must also strive to be one. She must cultivate honesty, kindness, loyalty, and humility. She must be someone who uplifts others, who prays for her friends in their absence, who advises with gentleness, and who supports without expecting anything in return. True friendship is a two-way effort, built on trust, compassion, and good character. When you become a person of depth and sincerity, you naturally attract those who share similar qualities. When a woman bases her friendships on quality, she experiences more peace. She no longer feels pressured to impress or compete. She no longer feels the need to fit in or mold herself to match others. She maintains her identity, values, and principles with confidence. She knows she does not need many people to validate her. Even one righteous friend, or even none for a season, is enough, because her relationship with Allah is the foundation. Human companionship becomes a complement, not a necessity. This perspective also teaches her to appreciate the blessings she already has. Perhaps she has one friend who always checks on her quietly, or a family member who stands by her with sincerity. Or maybe she is in a phase where she has no close friends at all, but she is learning patience, independence, and emotional strength. All of these are blessings, even if they do not look like the friendships she sees in others' lives. Quality friendships shape your future. They influence your decisions, your emotions, your character, and even your connection with Allah. A single righteous friend can help you overcome a bad habit, guide you through hardship, or remind you to trust Allah when your heart feels weak. On the other hand, a group of friends who lack values can pull you into gossip, negativity, jealousy, or spiritual decline. The difference between elevation and destruction can sometimes be traced back to the quality of your companionship. Life is too short to fill it with relationships that drain your spirit, and your heart is too valuable to be placed among people who don't honor its worth. When you prioritize quality over quantity, you find friendships that nourish your soul, uplift your mind, and strengthen your faith. You learn that it's better to walk alone than to walk with people who take you away from the path Allah wants for you. So a woman who may seem alone should not think she is deprived. She may actually be protected, preserved, and prepared for friendships that are sincere, supportive, and spiritually uplifting. And when Allah sends those people, even if they are few, she will understand that one righteous friend is worth more than a crowd that leads her nowhere. Kindness invites companionship, and when a woman understands this, she begins to realize that friendships are often a reflection of the energy she brings into the world. Many people spend their lives searching for good friends while overlooking the simple truth that good character naturally attracts good company. It doesn't require perfection, it requires sincerity. It doesn't require popularity, it requires humility. And it doesn't require forcing connections. It requires living with a heart open to goodness. Often, when a woman feels she has no friends, she may assume something is wrong with her. She may believe she is unlikable, uninteresting, or inadequate. But sometimes the issue is not her worth. It is the environment she is in, the people she crosses paths with, or the phase of life she is currently experiencing. Still, there is something beautifully empowering about knowing that kindness can open doors to companionship. You may not be able to control who stays or leaves, but you can control the type of person you are. And the type of person you are shapes the type of people who are drawn to you. Kindness is not just a smile or polite words. It is a consistent state of being, rooted in compassion, mercy, and sincerity. It shows in how you speak to others, in how you listen when someone is hurting, in how you hold back from judging too quickly, and in how you choose gentleness even when harshness feels justified. A kind person creates a sense of safety around them. People may forget your achievements, your talents, or the details of your conversations, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And when you make people feel respected, valued, and understood, you naturally become someone they want to be around. True kindness also includes emotional generosity, the willingness to give without expecting anything in return. It means offering support even when you are struggling, remaining patient even when others test your limits, and showing gratitude even in small matters. These are qualities that touch hearts and earn trust. Friendships built on kindness are stronger, deeper, and more meaningful because they come from a place of purity rather than convenience or self-interest. A woman who embodies kindness may not be surrounded by crowds, but the people who do gravitate toward her will often be those who appreciate sincerity. She will attract individuals whose hearts resonate with goodness. These are the friendships that last, not because they are loud or dramatic, but because they are rooted in mutual respect. Even if she has only one friend with whom kindness flows naturally, that friendship becomes a safe haven in a world filled with superficial connections. Kindness also requires vulnerability, which is another reason it fosters companionship.